doom, 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 doom. That's how it sounds. I realized the other day that people were saying boing boing, and that's racist. So y'all shouldn't say that. That's and hey, but everybody, welcome. I'm sorry, I'm talking. We ain't interested. This is Jonathan, Christine, and Susan P. Ish, and Gerard. Welcome to Forbidden Knowledge, Ancient Knowledge, where we discuss an ongoing discussion about all the wise things that were lost over time. See, hey, there goes Miss P. Hey, Miss PP.
I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it through. So it's either leave now or leave in the middle.
It's healthy. That's healthy. I got jokes, but yeah, it comes in. It's got to go out. Take all the minerals and stuff. You got to stay healthy, people. If you ain't peeing on a regular basis and pooping, something is wrong on the inside.
Now, this is what happens to women who eat poisoned food when they get old. They just pee all the time.
And that's ancient knowledge. Don't poison the creators of your species. Don't put glyphosate and sugar and everything and comorbidity subsidy products and everything that they eat. That's ancient knowledge.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how have y'all been? It's been a while. I haven't done this with you guys in a little bit, huh?
It's been what, 2 weeks?
No,
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Two or 3 weeks. I don't think I've done one of these in a while. So.
No, you were almost not there the last time.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah, I've been-
He was actually doing work.
always working. Always
I
working.
was baking in
I
the
told
desert.
them 29 degrees, Aries, Sun, 29 degrees, Mars, 29 degrees, always working. 100% Aries.
You got to keep going. I don't know what knowledge we can talk about today. I tell you what, I went to sleep over some great lectures. One was about the Library of Alexandria and who actually burned it down. I guess the debate is now whether it was Constantine or Caesar, and the Muslims have a different take on history. I think that kind of feeds into whether or not the books were when it was destroyed, if the books were taken somewhere else before it was destroyed. I had a great lecture on UFO and aliens. I'd love to talk about because I just saw Walter come in the room. So I would love to spend the whole live stream and talk about aliens and UFOs, simply because Walter and good old Thor, they won't stop. So.
Yeah, because
So
if you believe or research any of that stuff, you don't care about the problems on Earth.
Right. If you care about free energy, you absolutely must be CIA. And I'm joking with you, Walter. I love Walter to death. I love everybody. I'm just, for the most part, everybody's got to do them, right?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's it. Like, you do your own research, you figure out what's wrong with the current state of the modern world, and you go off and do that, but don't really be too worried about what everyone else is doing. I think everyone has a different inspiration in what to do to make our world a better place, and we have to respect everybody's inspiration. If it's fighting reptilians, if it's astrology, if it's UFOs, if it's free energy, if it's voting, if it's being a Democrat, Republican, whatever, moving off grid, getting away from the system, like whatever people feel they need to do, they need to be honest with that tug that they have, spiritually or vibrationally, and just go do it. And we should support everybody who's involved to some degree trying to make things better.
Right. And why use all the knowledge that we can and think outside the box to change things when we could just keep doing the same things over and over again? Why not?
Yeah, we like to repeat. We are, how do you say? We are habit beings of habit.
Yes,
we
beings of
do
habit.
always the same all over and all over again.
Why can't we discuss ancient wisdom and do those things that we need to do in the present moment to fight the old paradigm?
Well,
why does it have to be an either or? I mean,
I want to answer that.
Reading all this stuff, that doesn't mean that we're not.
I want to answer that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because if we actually understand philosophy and ancient knowledge and how the world has always worked under control of the few, then it means we'll actually know how to fight the bastards today. We'll actually know how to walk away from the system, and we'll know why we need to, because we keep repeating the same cycles over and over. And this is my hesitation. So I don't tell anybody what to do, because to me it's crazy. If you know what's wrong with the world, you want everybody to follow you, then you just want to be in control of the world. So you don't actually have a problem with slavery and empowerment, power and oppression. You just want to be the one that's in charge, making the decisions. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it's always a thing of just step back, look at what the ancients told us, look at what they experienced and what they went through, and make decisions for today, so we stop repeating this stupid cycle like revolutions. Why would we have a revolution? After every revolution, the people who win, they become the oppressor. So why in the world are we going to continue to do the same stupid things over and over?
Wait, and the etymology, am I saying that right? Etymology of the word revolution is to go backwards, to roll back. So revolution technically just means going back again.
Revolve. Wow. Just keep doing that same cycle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Nobody, no leaders, no followers, no masters, no slave. None of y'all are right. I ain't right neither. But together, we're damn close. What's that?
Path of Tao. That's the only thing we have to follow.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so that's why. That's always my position. And I don't think Brother Walter and Brother Thor, I don't think they really understand what I'm saying. So this might be me. I don't know how to communicate and translate that. That if you feel that fighting Gerard on UFOs and aliens and reptilians and avians, if you feel that that's what you should be doing, then you should be doing. Do it efficiently. Do it well. But you got to work a little harder to do that. But anyway, so we're not talking about. I don't think we're talking about that, are we? I'm only kidding. I don't want to talk about aliens and UFOs. I don't think they're aliens no more, y'all. Ha! Guess what? I think that they're inner Earth Rothschilds and Rockefellerians. I think they found some V-Manas and they've been flying them all around the. I don't know. My mind changes all the time. So anyway, who knows?
I wanted to say though, like if you think about it though, right? So I don't know what wisdom of the day is, but any wisdom of today is going to be ancient wisdom in the future, right? So why can't we use the ancient knowledge and what we know now to not revolve but evolve into something better, different?
Yeah. The wisdom from the
actually go ahead, Christine, and I'll talk.
The wisdom from the indigenous people concerning the earth and all the relationship with the earth, and then maybe the wisdom of the people who have good technology, and this in harmony, then we will live in paradise.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
If we change things on the outside, but don't change things on the inside, then we will get the Russian Revolution, the French Revolution, and we know how those ended. They ended by repeating the same toxic garbage over again. You have to change your inside. Because if you want to create a new world, a new paradigm, one where there really is brother and sisterhood, and people look after each other, then you have to change on the inside. Sorry, you just have to. You can't take greed and selfishness and self-absorption and all those other things with you into the new cycle, because it will become toxic.
Right.
Only can come from inside. Change.
You have to.
Starts always inside.
It always has to start from the inside.
Yeah.
Do you know how long that's going to take when people won't even recognize what genitalia they have? God, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, it's getting worse. Now we are birthing people.
I know. I'm not a mother, I'm a birthing person. We're living in the Handmaid's Tale. I'm Gerard.
I did an experiment the other day. I had a post and it only had one word. It was just "but." I don't know what I get weird ideas in my head. I was just like, I just think that we're too
stupid.
Yeah, I mean, people in Europe aren't like this. Like, oh my God, he said butt. He said penis or vagina. Oh my God, like, grow up. It's just a part of your body.
The only one who said, but what do you mean? But what? I was all following the comments. I didn't
say anything. I just said butt, and it's just like,
I know.
People get outraged and it's just weird. It's like, that it's just a part of your body. It actually has a function. It's not anything to get upset and crazy and lose your mind over, because that's what we were indoctrinated to. Like, it's just weird. We live in a time we're indoctrinated to focus on all the crazy, stupidest things. But outside of that, I might disappear for a little bit, guys, because apparently my phone does not like the desert. Hell no, the bougainvillea likes the desert. My plants like the desert, but my phone is at 6%, and it won't charge because it started overheating. So I might have to reboot. So if I disappear, I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, see, there you go. Look what Walter said. There you go. See, that's the Walter I know and love, Walter Jenkins Hartman. That's what I'm talking about. Shaolin, ancient wisdom, and he's I think he's a Shaolin Sifu. See, these are the things that we need to focus on, not because we love Shaolin, but because it's ancient knowledge, and these are things that were handed down that were very, very important. But also with that are the Sanskrit texts, the Vimanas, the free energy, all those things that have been handed down. All of that's all related. We can't pick and choose. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with. Damn it.
Yeah, wasn't their album The Secrets of Shaolin or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The energy is in you and it guides you, according to Rose Williams.
Yeah, there was once a nice documentary about Shalom. How do you speak it out? Shalom. About the way how they got their powers, and how they defeated the enemy by not fighting.
Yes.
Extremely powerful.
That's the philosophy behind Aikido, which is to use your enemy's momentum against them. You simply step out of the way and let them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I keep saying it wrong. I keep calling it Kenpo. It's Aikido. And this is the point of walking away. Walking away from the system. Don't go out in the street and fight them, because that's what they want you to do.
They know how to deal with violence.
They know exactly what to do with violence. They know exactly what to do with protest and fighting. They don't know what to do if you stop believing in them. If you stop using their infrastructure, if you become self-sufficient in any way that you know how to do that, and you stop partaking in their world more, they don't know what to do with that.
No, they have no energy then.
You take their energy. And that's why I'm against this idea of fight the system. It's a system, you don't need to fight it. You just need to stop using it. When a system has no users, it goes extinct.
Right. Yes. Yeah, like MySpace, right? MySpace is kind of dead because nobody uses it anymore.
I miss Tom. Yes, I miss Tom. I'm going to change my profile picture to Tom because Tom was the man. And now Tom is extinct. Tom is done, right? Facebook beat him. Why? Because we didn't fight Tom. We didn't fight MySpace. We stopped using the system and it went extinct. It's that simple. It's scary how simple the world's problems to fix are. I think, was it Graham Hancock or John Liu or, I don't know, all my gurus.
And even Stephen Greer, he's doing
Stephen Greer might have said it.
Yeah.
He said that the world's problem, something about how simple it is, that how gosh, I'm going to mess the quote up, but something, how ridiculous it is that to fix the world's problems, the solutions are so simple.
Yeah.
In 1 year, we could fix all problems, he said, Stephen Greer. Only need 1 year.
I don't even think it would take a year.
Yeah, even that maybe. Yeah.
It might. it might take us a while to deprogram and to heal and to detoxify our energy as well as our bodies. If we do manage to turn a corner on this planet, and we're going to have to figure out how to live together, as a planet.
That's why I'm always like, it's going to take a long time, because you're talking generations.
It is.
Like,
there's a lot of momentum behind this toxicity. A lot.
Right. Like, if we're the beginning of whatever new society frame structures coming next, then and we really are aiming for a peaceful community golden age type thing.
Yes.
This is the beginning. And then it's passed down to the next generation. So, like, in my opinion, golden age isn't going to happen for a few generations.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not that easy.
The best part is still a long way. Yeah, the best part of it. But although I think when the negativity is destroyed, I think all knowledge will be much more easier revealed, and people will immediately change their mindset. That's what I believe.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too.
I think that
a lot easier to do this.
There's no timestamp on how quickly we can fix things, because we don't even know the level of technology we're at.
Right.
We've been reset so many times, and they've held so much technology, wisdom, and knowledge, like the Vatican and the the idea that a lot of the books from the Library of Alexandria, the human heritage information that they've robbed, stole, and they violate human rights by keeping them hidden underneath their buildings. Like, we don't even understand what we don't understand. We don't even know what we don't know. And if we actually release that technology or that information, that spirituality and knowledge, who knows how long it can take us to reset. Because most people are traumatized. If you can produce resources to remove that trauma, those people can wake up and reboot quite quickly. But we don't even know what we have. We still debate whether these are aliens or Space Force or Rothschild, Rockefellers, or reptilians. It doesn't matter who it is. All that matters is free energy obviously is in the public domain. We just don't get to use it.
Yeah.
And I think
over our heads.
I think if you heal with the frequencies, that is, I think, the future healing ways of medicine, to raise your frequencies, and they erase all the trauma which your body has suffered, I think, for ages and ages. So the DNA can be totally rejuvenated, I believe. I mean, it's just a belief. I think that it is possible.
We don't know what's going to happen, but
why would I else destroy?
If we make a big step forward, the universe will reciprocate and come towards us.
Yeah.
I don't know what form that aid, that help will take, but it's simply the law. It's simply natural law. If you invest in healing, in love, in building relationships with your community, with the planet, with each other, that is about taking care of everyone instead of taking care of number one. That is magic, and that is power, and that will create ripples of influence around you. And it's going to, I mean, it may sound kind of woo-woo-ish, but that's how magic works.
Yeah. And I think that's why they want to destroy the DNA, because it can evolve in a very higher level.
They want to create permanent slaves. They want to try and eliminate the possibility of transformation. You can't do that. You can't. They're basically trying to eliminate. They're trying to have the dark without the light. Well, you can't do that. You can't do that. The universe will not allow that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so our DNA, right? It goes back, like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, if everything is connected and started from a single organism, which who knows, right? Then your DNA goes back that far. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
with every evolution, whatever.
Yeah, from the beginning, I
it's
think
written
our
in the
DNA
DNA.
is from.
We don't understand DNA, but those transhumanist psychos think they do, don't they? They
Yeah.
think they can. Wow.
But
Wow.
in our
The
DNA,
stunning
whole
level of hubris out there is amazing.
yeah, and I think in our DNA, whole evolution from beginning of the
Big Bang.
of the creation is in our DNA.
Yeah, and that's what I think they mean when you get back to the one, to the source, to that moment of the first creation, whatever that is, that first moment of life sparking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Right.
but my point is that if the whole universe is written to our DNA, then they have to understand it at a certain level, and if you could read that, because we already know it stores data, right? And they've uploaded the Library of Congress into, they even made a hard drive. Microsoft made a hard drive, a DNA hard drive.
Wow.
Oh, really?
The first DNA hard drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they can put it in, then and they can learn how to read it, then you understand everything, because everything is written in our DNA. And then that makes you like God. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
true.
think that's one of the reasons why because it's all about power with them. So I
Yes.
think that's one of the reasons why they mess with our DNA so bad, because they want to understand it. They
They're
want to
trying to
know
unlock that
that
power.
code.
They're
Right.
trying to unlock that power. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But there will be and a lot are going along with it. That's why a lot of people will disappear, I'm feared.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because now they're rolling.
Like Mark, for instance, the aliens just ate him.
They got him. He's got that good DNA.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, DNA, we're only beginning to understand it. I really think. I think we're going to understand it over the next 100 or 200 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And that'll be a part of the rediscovery of what happened to us.
Yeah, and I think then we can go back to our God realized conscious, like I think like the Egyptians and all those civilizations. That would be amazing.
To actually reconnect with that other world that's up there.
Yeah. And like they say they write your name down in the book of life or the tree of life, and so we know DNA holds information, and we know it can store information, so we know that it can be read. So I kind of think that's the book of life, the DNA.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's like in meditation, you get glimpses of different lives, and you kind of feel like it's a memory. And, and then of course the question arises, am I actually reviewing a past life when you're in meditation, right? And then of course you remember everything is now. All time is an instant. And the phone just agrees with me. But everything is now. All past lives are happening.
Yeah, true.
Because everything
in the present. Yeah, that's it's all on a vertical, and it's not horizontal. It's like linear.
Right.
And I think some people say you can go to that life or jump to the future life. You can go.
Well, that's kind of what
all this experience, all this life. That's why there is time traveling possible. I think.
Right. Yeah.
Although, I wouldn't like to get stuck in some time. I don't want to live.
Definitely not. I don't want to get stuck in the Black Plague or the Inquisition or some shit like that. I think we've done that.
It be a real pandemic.
We are stuck now.
Not a real one, not this fake bullshit.
Yeah, I know. I still can't believe people have been outside and think there's a pandemic.
Yeah, they
Like,
still think it.
You're freaking food shopping, but you think there's a pandemic. Like, I'm having this conversation with you at the grocery store while it's packed and the parking lot is full, but there's a pandemic. Like, oh.
Yeah, and they're very comfortable. Eh? Talk and
Yeah,
it's
everybody's
totally...
dying. Can't you see? Wear your mask. Like, oh my God.
We're in 100% danger, and we're laughing at it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well,
pandemic.
here, I'm in California. Here in San Diego, people are still driving in cars with them on.
Oh my
People
God.
are walking their dogs with masks on, and it's like this beautiful 72-degree day, sunny, windy, breezy.
See, that's why I don't mind. For me, I'm very racist against stupidity. That
Well,
has to be
yeah,
their
erased.
choice. I get that. It's their choice. And
Yeah, it's
okay,
their choice.
you know, it's
That's
sad. What's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In our state, our
Yeah.
reptilian overlord gave us permission to breathe, so we were allowed to take the mask off. And I saw yesterday,
Mhm.
a person in her car by herself with a mask on.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you're obviously leaving a store or work or something. You think there's a pandemic that you have to wear your mask alone? Like, I don't get
Yeah.
it. I don't
No.
understand. And then they'll be like, don't believe everything you see on TV. But you're believing everything you see on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same quality of mind
Yeah, it's
that you
Yeah.
see in cults. In
a cultish, yeah.
it is a cult. It really is, because
100%.
they're immune to reason and to
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, you cannot discuss with them, and then
You really
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get
Yeah.
blocked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you don't have to. Oh yeah, sure, you have to be careful. Be careful.
I know.
Yes, they're good. Breathing
Don't say,
Donuts.
don't say, don't
Yeah,
say those
anyhow, I was
words.
always. I'm not for donuts. I don't like donuts. I never did, so I'm never gonna eat them.
Oh yeah, I
So-
went down a donut conspiracy rabbit hole with all these children having autism.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So, from my experience, first of all, it's not autism, it's developmental disabilities, because it's such a wide range. It's just
Yeah,
brain
true.
damage from the mercury and aluminum in the
Yeah.
donuts. But from my experience, like the schools and stuff, okay, there's this one kid since 3rd grade obsessed with like pumps and filters and filtration systems, and his parents said like he takes apart the vacuum cleaner and puts it back together and it works better and stuff. So these
Good.
kids have like an interest, and they may not be able to read well or write well, but once they have like the thing that they like
Mhm.
normal children, if we encouraged it, they would succeed in that
Mhm.
thing. But
Mhm.
because it's a school indoctrination camp, everybody basically gets taught the same stuff, and all prep for the real world is you can work at Chick-fil-A, you can work at McDonald's, this is your worth. And they just teach them how to behave, be quiet, control their behavior.
Right.
And I was like, if that isn't a plan of a donut creating
Yeah, true.
worker people that is obedient and won't question.
They're taught that freedom is freedom to choose between Coke and Pepsi,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ford
Yeah.
and Chevy,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But
Microsoft and Apple.
and because they're
You're
disabilities,
free.
they just do it. They just follow way easier than
Yeah.
than other people who don't have the disabilities would.
Right. And that's at Plato's cave. To think that you're free when you are a slave.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of
Mhm.
convenient. It's convenient.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to work for it.
No,
Mhm.
because that's what I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, they created a generation of people that can do their dirty work without questioning and thinking that this is
Right.
Mhm.
right, because this
Right.
is what I was taught my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
been saying that for years,
Lori
but now
says-
it's really evident.
Right. Lori says 2 choices only is 1 choice, because there is no difference between Coke and Pepsi. There's no
No.
difference between Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. None.
No,
It's not.
and
It's the same garbage,
yeah,
and it's presented as freedom.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and they're so everybody is tempted to take donuts for having vacation. I hear it everywhere. I want to go and travel. I will take a donut.
Right?
God. And if that's not bribery or coercion, I don't know what is.
Right.
So they're definitely violating another one of our pretend laws.
Yeah.
Because, if we would just all acted like human beings on human natural law and laws of the universe, it wouldn't be. It would just be evident that that's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy
it's not
people.
okay to experiment on people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess that's illogical in today's world, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they say in Belgium, when school starts in September again, all children need to have a donut. Otherwise, they cannot come to school. That's what they say in Belgium.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
And
what
a
they're
lot
going
of parents are doing the same.
They're going to start with the kids, right? How dare you put children in danger? That whole argument, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, I hope parents will keep them home. I think a lot will anyhow, but
I think so. I think
I'm quite sure because
and the pushback is all over the world. Good.
Yeah, and again, and the EU has just approved the donut passport.
Oh my God, they did?
They did. Against all protests.
We're the last stand and we're about to be invaded by a country that makes all our stuff. We're all gonna fucking die for real. Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
People can't stand it. I can't believe they approved that. That's insane. That is so.
Yeah.
1940s
insane.
Germany.
But people, but I don't think that will work.
They're not going to stop because they are stopped. They're just not.
But there will be, they're stopped, but they ignore it. But people will not take it. I'm quite sure. Most people. If you see all those wonderful walkings in all over Europe, they won't take it. They just will go for their freedom anyhow. They can have it in their mind, but they put how you use that song. You can English song. You can you can put that in your arse. No. You can put the fucking donut. You can put the fucking donut. You can put the fucking donut in your arse. Go away, and we all go away. Very nice song. They sing it everywhere.
Yeah, I sing COVID's the song that never ends. It just goes on and on. Some people started believing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll just keep believing it forever just because COVID's. That's my
Ooh,
I think we need to make
ancient knowledge.
With our own lyrics to the tune of the wheels on the bus go round and round, because that's what it is.
Isn't that ancient knowledge to never trust the kings and lords and give them all power to do everything all the time?
Yeah.
Trusting the kings and lords has always gone bad for us. That is definitely ancient knowledge.
The line in the I Ching that matches that sentiment, Gerard, is in hexagram 18, which is work on what has been spoiled. And that hexagram is about healing. And the top line in that hexagram is the great prince, or the superior person, does not serve kings and princes, but sets him or herself higher goals. That's the top line of that hexagram. And that line is the lid over the bowl. You take the lid off, and then the sun can shine into the bowl and destroy the corruption within that has formed inside. So the superior person does not serve powers, kings, princes, but sets him or herself higher goals. The inner life.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you guys know there's a new show on either Netflix or Hulu about the American princess. Apparently, the royals are over here and they got a baby here. The American princess.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is that a
And you know
show? Oh my God.
Now the Bank
Is
of
that a
London has
show?
an official home in America.
Yeah. The Harry and Meghan. Oh my God.
Well,
So there are so much against royalty, but they need to be treated like royals. Crazy people.
We're lost in a time.
They're
And I
so
have
impressed they got their own show.
This is 2021 and people are still revering royalty?
They're
What
worshiping
the hell is
people.
wrong with this place?
Yeah.
They're still worshiping people for no other reason than they were born into a particular family. Like
Yeah.
it boggles my mind that I'm stupid enough to want to be on earth in a time where people are still worshiping stars, entertainers, journalists, politicians, kings and lords, the few, the people with the most jewels. This system is designed so that the people who sell you out the most will always have the most popularity and the most power.
Yeah.
Why in the world would anyone today still be worshiping these people? It boggles my mind why anyone gives two damns what Fox News has to say about anything. CNN, MSNBC, BBC, any politician. None of that has anything to do with your day and what's important to you, your children, and your family. Turn that crap off. Stop worshiping the people with the most jewels and focus on what's most important in your life. And that's what's right in front of you and what you hear with your own ears, not what comes across the tell-lie vision.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
And underneath all that prettiness is a reptilian robot.
I'm gonna fit on the light.
It has to
That's who
be.
you're worshiping.
It has, Susan. It's not even. Human beings are not capable of what Democrats and Republicans are. Human beings, people with conscience, empathy, children, like they're not even capable of the things of what these psychopathic kings that protect the Epsteins. They're not even capable of this stuff. There's no way that these people are human beings. I absolutely second the motion. These people are reptilians.
Yeah.
There's something. Just gonna go reptilians.
Okay, there you
Because it was written in ancient knowledge text. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the walls.
A lot of them have,
For no
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep, what Marianne said. I thought celebrityism is still aching after the last year. These people need to start living their own lives. The only thing I will say about this area is there are less space diapers every day. Every day, less and less people give two damns what sign is on your door. They walk in the store and they do what they got to do and leave. People are done with, like, grown-ups are done with this nonsense. Anybody who educates themselves and researches and realize what happened, why the common cold killed so many people, it wasn't the common cold. It's the bacteria would have killed them people. Boogers would have killed them people. Dirty fingernails. I got dirty fingernails. That would have killed them people. If you don't have an immune system, you're going to die. And there's nothing anybody can do to stop you. If you continue to vote for the people with the most jewels who are poisoning your air, your food, your water, and taking subsidies for the #1 comorbidities, you're going to die. And there's no magical cure. How did we get on this topic? That's ancient knowledge. That's how we did it. Don't ever trust the lords and kings because they literally are going to poison you when they don't want to share the rice and the stills.
Oh, ancient knowledge. It's actually in a book, and I can't remember the name. And if I find it, because I screenshotted it, I'll put it in the comments. You know that thing about if you're planting seeds, lick them, because like put them in your mouth for a second before, like, you know, swirl it around, get some spit on it, and then plant it, because the seed actually does read your DNA. And it really will grow with the different things you need.
Yeah, Susan, you have to put your seeds in your hand, and then it gets your vibrations, and the seed takes up what you need, and it will give you all the vitamins and things you need. So that we have to do if we start planting.
Yeah.
So let me shake a bag of science on that. So what that is when because that's what they're talking about, people. When you eat an apple, that apple seed was given DNA from its parents, where it learns how to grow better through epigenetics in the soil that it's in and the climate that it's engaging with. It also picks up what's going on in your body through your DNA. And when it passes through your system and you poop it out into the ground, it grows and produces the compound nutrients and minerals that mammals like you that eat its fruit and spread its seed will make you healthy and strong, because it's a symbiotic relationship between the fruit and the seed and you, because it wants you to be strong and healthy, not die from the common cold, walk 100 miles and poop its seed out so it can spread across the planet. That is what is called science, not science. But don't put the seed in your mouth, Susan. That's crazy as hell. The seed's got fungi and bacteria and all kind of stuff. So spit on it. I agree with that. Better yet, eat the actual fruit and go out and poop in your neighbor's yard. That actually is a better idea. Just remember where you poop. That's what, so that's my tomato, John. Hey, that's my tomato. I put that there. That is my medicine. It's growing my medicine.
And in the book, though, it even says how, like, you should have, like, so if you're growing zucchini, then you should, like, put your spit on the zucchini seeds and then grow another row for, like, the other, like, say my son would put his spit on those zucchini seeds and mark them out, because, like, everybody's DNA is different and the plant will grow to your specific DNA.
Because you know why? Because plants are aliens. That's why. Plants aren't from here.
Mother Earth loves us and the universe knows what it's doing. So maybe we should start listening to it more.
Yeah.
Panspermia. Everything here came from outer space. There is no such thing as aliens, and we don't belong here. We are just like infecting every rock that you call a planet all across the universe, the same way that they do in all these little dirty nudie clubs. And I don't know what's going on with Texas, but there's little nasty clubs everywhere. They got little shake clubs everywhere you go. All the diseases that they sharing with each other in there is the
they
same.
They got some healthy immune systems.
Well, no, some of them don't make it out. Some of them die. But, you know, it's all interrelated, people. There are no aliens. You are not this Rockefeller creature that they can put in a smart city so we can give nature back to the animals, and we're gonna live in the cities. And you have no idea that you are still an animal. You are not an artificial Rockefellerian that can live in a damn city. You will die in a smart city. A smart city has nothing that you need. Everything that you need is in nature. What's happening is the billionaires, through that whole Agenda 20 nonsense, whatever, they keep changing it. They want all the land. They want what they've always wanted.
Yeah, and
they get all the land, and they're hurting the human beings, the human livestock, into smaller and smaller and smaller cages, and they tempt you with all the conveniences in the world that they give you, and they're putting you in a prison cell called a smart city.
Yeah, and now they're raising the prices of the house market so high that nobody can buy a house, so you're obliged to rent. And you will own nothing, and you will be perfectly happy. That's what they want.
Yes, yeah.
Klaus Schwab. Isn't it Klaus Schwab?
Yeah.
Yes, and you know what? He wears an Empire Strikes Back robe with a German freaking accent while he says this shit, and nobody's questioning it. I don't know.
Hello. They just put it right there in front of you. They got robot dogs in New York and Boston, and people are like, "Oh, this is okay. This isn't the Black Mirror." No, they're not. Like, they're literally making television come true, television come true. Yeah. 1984 was not supposed to be an instruction manual for what you were supposed to clap for. Stop clapping.
Yeah, he's literally up there. We supposed to own nothing, and it's all black with like emblems and stuff, and it's like, that guy's scary as shit. Why is he in charge? And nobody says, "Oh, I don't think it's a good idea."
The only reason this is funny as hell, and I cannot be too serious in the current modern times in 2020, 21, whatever the year is because people are so damn naive and gullible that they're just going along with everything, and they can't even see what's coming. And that to a degree is funny. And so I am kind of laughing like the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and it actually is pretty hilarious that you don't actually see what they're doing.
Yeah. Of course, I must be laughing all the time. Look, those stupid monkeys that we can just do whatever we want, and they don't still get it. Yeah. Almost you would have,
Look what Jay said. That's why the tiny house movement and international or intentional communities are growing. People are fed up. And the beautiful thing about that, Jay Shear, is that there are millions of them. There are millions of people who realize this system is bullshit. If you're going to hand over all the world's governments to a few corporations, I'm leaving. If you tell me that I have to be a part of a Tuskegee experiment or anything that you want to engage in a society that I helped build, I built the movie theaters, I built the grocery stores, I've engaged my entire life and done the things in the job I was supposed to do, help building this society. But you're telling me now I'm a second-class citizen because I don't take your favorite billionaire's product? Hell no. And they're walking away. And if you ask me, Jay, that is how you fight the system. These are people who know what the hell they're doing. They understand it's a system, and they're strong enough to stand up and walk away. Because it takes a lot of damn strength to live in a tiny house or a shed. Trust me. It does. It takes a whole lot of strength every night to go home and just before you run out of solar power to make sure that you pump up your air mattress. You don't have enough room. Half your stuff is still outside in the desert because you don't have any room, but you're doing the right thing. And that, to me, is a sign that this is going to fail. Whatever they're up to is going to fail. Because more and more people are realizing that if in order to take my children to the movie theater, they got to be a member of a Tuskegee experiment and have some Ovaltine donuts shot up in them. Hell no. You can go to hell twice. I'll buy land. I will move out. I will do my own thing. But I will not engage in your psychotic society.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry. That was like a soliloquy times two.
And to have anything at all to do with them is poison. Anything at all to do with them is toxic. To give them any energy at all is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you disagree with me on that. I don't care. You can try and gaslight me all you want. That's the fact, because they are energy vampires. And if you resist them, they love that shit. They love that shit.
They want you to.
Your energy.
Please fight us. Come fight us. Come protest. Get in the streets. Get mad and angry.
Yeah.
Act like us. Act psychopathic.
Exactly.
Burn down the streets. Do what we thrive on.
The only
for that nonsense.
The only protest would be like to stand there and love them every day. That would be the only. They wouldn't know what to do with that energy. They wouldn't know what to do with you. I love you and you're a good person.
Yeah. I remember that Debbie Lusingen,
non-violent, non-cooperative.
She was visiting when there was the primary with the elections, and then actually it was Bernie Sanders, but it was not him. And she felt like a big dark energy in that place. And she thought, I have to be, she was scared and said, no, I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to love that thing. And she said it went away totally. It was like, it was so scared from love that it totally went away. I remember that she was saying that experience that was 2006.
And guess what Debbie and her boyfriend did? They went off, bought land, and are becoming self-sufficient.
Oh, nice.
Same damn thing. And that's how I know they're going to fail. Because enough people are strong enough and smart enough to understand the power of self-sufficiency and not being a dependent. A dependent will never defy its master. You will never stage, or you know how many revolutions I staged against my mother and my father? I'm gonna tell you exactly how many of my revolutions worked, right? They paid the bills, they brought the water, they owned the infrastructure in the house. Every revolution I staged against mommy and daddy, I lost. Okay? If you are dependent on their infrastructure, you work for them, you buy from them, you eat from them, you drive their cars, you use their equipment, They own you.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
George Carlin said that. You are not a citizen. They own you. You are a dependent. They can make you do anything they want and your neighbors, or they'll make your neighbors come get you, or they won't feed your neighbors. If
Right.
you are not working on self-sufficiency and no longer being a childlike dependent of this system in any way that you feel that you need to, or you can, you're empowered to, then we are going to deserve whatever's coming. This system is coming to a hilt,
Right.
True.
and only strong people will survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it will be not that even that difficult. Because whenever you get independent from something, the inspirations comes all the time. So
Right.
then that make us believe that it is going to be extremely difficult if we are not dependent on them, but that's actually not true at all.
No. No, but our dependency upon the system is like when I say the matrix, it's the freaking matrix. Like we are trapped in it because we don't own any of it and we don't have no say in it and we don't control any of it. If they want to block you, they can block you. If they want to take your stuff away, they can take your stuff away. They can go into your bank account whenever they feel like it. They can tell you they're taking your house whenever they feel like it. All they have to do is come up with some situation that says, I need to take your home, and they're taking your home. It might take a year, but they're taking it. So that's what I mean. We have no say in anything. We're completely dependent upon them in every single way.
Right. And here's an example. I hate to put Brother Walter on blast, but I'm going to have to. No, you don't need to list the members of the school board, right? You're saying all you have to do is start listing the members of your school board, and there's so many other things that are a good start. No, the good start is accepting that they're not your school board. It's not your school. Take your child out of it. Don't engage with psychopaths and psychopathic systems. This is a system, people. It wants you to come after them. It wants you to fight them. All you have to do is realize they don't exist. You don't exist for me. You're not going to grow my food. You're not going to give me water. You're not going to provide my power, and you're not going to educate my children. I love my children. You are a psychopathic system indoctrinating children to be these little identity slaves and be in conflict with each other to keep the few in power. No. So don't list them. Don't go after the government. Don't go after the politicians. Just realize they don't even exist. Every ounce of power they get to enslave and oppress you comes from the fact that you accept they have that power. If you go and you deplore or if you protest them, you're admitting they have the power. You're admitting that they are just sitting in that office. And Walter knows this. They're not even a government. Why would you protest a corporation's employees? It's not even a government. It's a corporation and their employees. They don't give a two damns if you write their names down. They're going to do their job because they got mortgages to pay. We're the ones who need to step up and realize we don't have a government. This is the United States Incorporated. It's not a government. The Washington, D.C. Act of 1871 made it a corporation. You are not being governed. They are not politicians. They are actors. They are acting, and you're falling for the whole thing. From the top to the bottom, we have to walk away in an act of great agnosticism. Is that a word? Agnosticism to corporations and billionaires who aren't even a government.
Gerard, I don't think we're going to convince them, and I don't think I know they're certainly not going to convince me. So why don't we just move on from this?
Yeah. Well, you know, half the time I do the rant, John. It's not even about convincing anyone.
Yeah.
It's an open discussion. It's like, you know, we repeat things that we've said before, like even in the comment section, because there are other people who are watching. And if any of that resonates with them, they pick it up and it becomes a beautiful thing. And that, to me, that's the power of social media. And it's the only reason why I'm still here is because it doesn't mean that, you know, Christine and I are going to make each other see eye to eye. But there are thousands, perhaps millions of other people who can see it, who may change their mind if there's any logic in what was said. But I agree with you. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say the United States is a corporation, right? And they are, so they're the name of the company for the slave owners, masters, right? And so we don't even know who the masters are. And then the politicians are the overseers of the plantation. And all of us are slaves. I'm a slave.
You missed one. The police are the whips.
Yes. Yep.
And so that is the setup. And what you just said, it reminded me of something I was going to post. I forgot to because I was playing on the backhoe, which is you're literally listening right now. The majority of people are listening to the same psychopathic families behind slavery. They're listening to the same psychopathic families behind the world war. These are the same families, the same banks. And this is what Walter is right about. These are the same families who brought you all of your oppression. You're now listening to them that they want to give you a magical potion and cure you. That's how insane things are right now.
Yeah, well, that's like, I think it's just freaking hilarious, right? That like, okay, first of all, I'm supposed to feel guilty about being born this skin color, which, sorry, that's the freaking definition of racism, okay? I don't understand how you do not see that that's not racist shit. Like, I was born this skin color, I should feel bad about myself. You know what I mean? Come on. And then, right? Are you kidding? If my parents owned slaves, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be like running shit. Like, so... And then the people that actually came from families that owned slaves are the ones telling you to feel guilty because it's insanity.
It's crazy. Hey, Susan, I had a discussion this week with somebody here around. She's a darker skin, and she said, you should feel guilty. She was like, do this, you're white, you're really evil. I said, what? Get out of my house. You're totally nuts. And oh my God, she was crazy. And she was like, oh, and Black Lives Matter is everything. Say, you're not from America. You live here in Belgium. You don't even have no, you don't know anyone in America. Say, I know a few people in America. It's like, no, I was really bad. And you're Nazi, you're fascist. Every word she could scold to me, she did. Say, why? What did it do to you? Do it suppress you? You get all the... Because they get all the advantages from the government. She gets all this kind of things. And still she thinks she's suppressed. She gets... because of like the laws now, okay, because you are immigrant ones. And then... and in Belgium, they get a lot. They get really... I mean, they're much more richer than I am, but we are still suppressing them. It's crazy. So, okay.
But no, and then the school thing real quick, because I got into a thing about, I don't even want to say it on here, CTR, critical color theory. That way?
Yes. What? Yes. Critical race theory.
Pump your brakes. Hold on. I'm not paying attention. I'm not watching the ignorant news. What the hell is CCR? What?
CTR. CRT.
Critical race theory. CRT.
Yeah. You haven't heard they're trying to teach that in school? Well, they
started in the university.
Everywhere. Not only in America, also here. Eh? Not only in America, also here.
Theory is racist.
No shit.
What schools are teaching CRT? That
oh my God, ignorant. Where have you been? In the desert?
Yes! I got my phone is sitting on top of a cowboy hat in front of the air conditioner to cool it down because my phone is from Pennsylvania. It's like, oh, hell no. We need to go back to Rockefeller world, all right? Too hot out here, damn it. What's wrong with you? Hell yeah, I've been in the desert. My whole life has been in front of my face for the past month. I never heard it, but it's not surprising me. Like their whole goal is to get very silly, naive people to continue believing that they're a race and they're not a god, that there's some sort of an identity and not 7 billion different identities being played into these little ignorant groups by this Rockefellerian world to keep them all divided. Because divide and conquer to me is fake news, Susan. If you're divided, you're already conquered. Nobody has to conquer you. You're going to conquer yourself. So the minute that you agree that you are an identity, you are a slave. You are a shackle. That is a label attachment that they can just hook that chain to, run a news report based on CRT or some other ignorant thing, and they can make you do whatever they want. And this is the ignorance, the current ignorance we live in. People, please listen to me. You are not livestock. You are not something Rockefellers and Rothschilds can name and make into a color, a religion, a groupable subhuman. You're not a subhuman. You are in a human being, but you are a spiritual creature. Do not subscribe to the ignorance of, what is this, John? Animal Farm. Don't subscribe
Animal
to it.
Farm. Yes.
But what I wanted to say was, so, because she was saying something about, well, you know, it shouldn't be taught till they're 7 anyway, so they can comprehend it, and that, you know, if any child under 7 is racist, it's because the parent taught them that, and And my whole point was, it's not the state's job to raise my children and teach them right. And if you're an asshole and teach your children to be an asshole, then that's just their individual choice. It's not my business to, I mean, I'll look out for children, but that's their choice to raise their children that way, right? And I sure as hell don't want the state teaching my children about racism when I see what they do on TV with racism. You know what I mean? That's my responsibility, not the state's. And she could not get that, like, yes, but we have to. No, you don't have to teach my children shit.
See, if I were there, I would have jumped in and I would have said, right, it's her job to raise her child. It is the state's job to continue to support the isms. Every ism is required to be there. This is the whole divide and conquer strategy. This is the ignorance behind people who go to government to fight racism. Racism isn't a side effect of the system. Racism is an intended outcome of artificial scarcity laws. They need groups to be in conflict with each other. This is why they take resources from different groups and they say, oh, you know, they smack you in the back of your head. They say, oh, look, who smacked you? White people smacked
it was them.
You need to get them, you know.
Right?
They did it, right? And so the job of the state here, I don't know anything about Britain. I don't know anything about Canada. I only read American laws. The job of American legislators is to uphold every ism that keeps them in their actor seats and the powerful people above them with all the resources. Racism, you don't need critical racism theory. All you need to do is get your ignorant behind and go read a law and realize that this is systematic. It always has been. They beat the hell out of poor whites and they blame the blacks. And this is how you get all these other people on that side.
It would be cool to have a time machine and actually take some of these morons back in time to, say, the 1920s and show them real fucking racism.
Ooh, come on. Yes, John, the 20s has real racism.
This is what real racism looks like, you moron.
How did Dave Chappelle say, just the type of racism you only get from Alabama, Tupelo City that doesn't even have electricity. Like, that's that real racism.
That's high quality racism.
Like it stopped me from getting a promotion. Like, that is not racism, people. Like, the craziest thing, I've been in front of guns that racist people, number one, they don't want to interact with you. They're not going to let you work at their job. They're not going to let you send your children to their school. Real racist people don't even acknowledge your existence. All right.
Yeah, true.
Real racism is a real issue, but it is a consequence of this Rockefellerian system by robbing Peter to pay Paul in this group conflict setup. If you have a democracy, you will always have racism and all the other isms, period. So I applaud you, Susan, for standing up and calling that woman ignorant out of both sides of her mouth.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just the point. Like that's how people. That's their mindset at this point, though. That our schools are supposed to teach our children. No, the school's not supposed. They're supposed to teach them math, science, history, real history. That's what they're supposed to teach them. They're not supposed to teach them how to be a moral human being. That is my job.
Yeah.
And it will, maybe work together while learning at school, but. Yeah, it's not the state's responsibility to teach my child what's morally right.
Right. And it's your obligation, like we just talked about 20 minutes ago. If you don't believe the state owns your children and you're not okay with this total mind control, like Lori just commented, you must take your children out of school. The problem with a child is their minds are meldable, right? Like, where did the U.S. education system come from? It came from like Germany or Hungary or some like military
I think the Habsburg
model. that they use for the U.S. education system. It's not there to educate your children. It's there to indoctrinate them to ignorance, to ensure that they not only stay in conflict with their neighbors, but they will do whatever the state tells them to. You know, and this is ancient knowledge. Do not send your child to the king, lords, and princesses and queens to be educated, because what you're going to get back is going to be a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I did like 8 rants. So
Okay.
Yes, so did I.
and it's hot. I'm gonna have to eat lunch soon.
Should we actually read something? I mean, I'd like to get away from this pointless.
Pointless right now.
Because it's not going anywhere.
It's
And
not, and it's gonna go further nowhere.
And the thing is,
Paul here, and Paul thinks I
all
have
those
men and women
indigenous-
around me.
you see, this is just, no, I'm not engaging with this energy right now.
So all this indigenous knowledge, because that's
Mhm.
everywhere. All this indigenous knowledge, like in Europe, it's actually the who were the Celtic people who had a lot of wisdom and knowledge. They got disappeared by the Romans. The Celtic, the Druids. So
Yeah.
we lost that knowledge.
Druids.
And in America, it's the Native Americans, and in Asia, it's the old, those Chalowin,
The
all
shamanic.
those, they
Yes.
got, And we have to go back to that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes. And
We
listen,
do.
I didn't know this. I just found this out, I don't know, like this past week. Druid, like the Druids priest, the name is Druid, actually meant one who speaks to nature.
Yeah.
They understood nature and nature's energies, and that's why they were the priests of that culture, people, whatever.
And we are nature.
Yeah.
Yes. We
We're
are.
not livestock. We're nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, education is a great conversation with a lot of people on it. I just think that we got to do better. Once you know better, you got to do better. And if you don't, that's literal ignorance. And so, like we started in the beginning, we keep repeating the same cycles because we keep doing the same stupid things, and that's what this system wants.
Yeah. And that's why history is always erased, and that's why it's being, like we talk about the ancient knowledge being stolen, right? Well, our history is being erased right now, just from 200 years ago and 500 years ago, let alone what happened 12,000 years ago. Because as long as you as long as you can take that, you frame the narrative constantly. The more information people have, the better decision they can make.
History's has been being erased ever since the
History
church got the power of the Roman Empire behind them. And then what did they do? They wiped out all their rivals. Everyone with a different narrative.
Yeah.
Wiped them all out.
History doesn't repeat.
Yeah.
History doesn't repeat. We make it do the same thing that it did
Yeah.
the last cycle.
Yep.
It doesn't repeat. We literally rewind the tape and hit play and we play it again.
Yeah.
Take that video cassette back to the video store and say, no, I'm done with this damn movie. I'm going to do something different. Give me a DVD or something.
We have to break the cycle. We have to get out of the circle, turn the circle into a spiral. And then the spiral release.
I like
freedom.
the sound.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
You have to go. That's actually evolution. That's why you see everywhere in the ancient, the coiled spiral, the 1, 2, and that goes up. That's a symbol of true evolution.
Yes.
Yeah, and even like I was saying before, the precession, the equinoxes, and the orbit of Earth. You know what I mean? In the Milky Way, around the galactic center, right? It spirals. It goes like this.
Yeah.
It spirals up. But I was reading the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, number 13, I think, not too long ago.
Right.
And he was saying that the darkness, those of the dark, the Brotherhood of the Dark, the reptilians, they travel in angles and straight lines, and they're always going to follow you. And in order for them not to catch you, you need to learn how to move in curves.
Zigzag, jump,
And the spirals.
Yes.
Serpentine.
there are no like sharp. This is debated, right? Are there sharp angles, right angles found in nature?
Nature.
No.
Right.
Right.
Nature is all about
everything is round. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything is round.
I got to answer a question because Paul said, first of all, I'm not going to address what Elizabeth Huss just said. I'm going to say, Paul said, I'm pushing my own narrative, that I'm pushing a narrative. And I will agree with that. I am. I absolutely am pushing a narrative. I'm not pushing my narrative. I'm pushing the narrative that Susan can do Susan, Christine can do Christine, and John can do John, all by themselves without my help or my ignorance. I barely can take care of my damn self. I got enough things that I need to do. I need to drive a backhoe and make a mountain lion, make sure we don't take a chunk out of my butt. I have enough trouble dealing with my own life and my own issues. I don't have time to help anybody else with what they need to be doing. So I am promoting a narrative, and that narrative is not my own. That is ancient knowledge that you are a spiritual creature. You can make your own damn decisions. You put your pants on one leg at a time, and you can decide what is medicine, what is poison. You can decide where you need to go, what you need to do. And that's the only narrative I have, which to me is no narrative, but I'm fine. You can call it a narrative, is that, yes, you are a spiritual creature. You're here, and nobody and nothing has power over you.
And we are the narrators of our own stories. We're the writers of our own stories, right? Our lives. Like, so, yeah, I have a narrative and it changes with new information, and it should.
On a regular basis.
You know what I mean? It's my life. I'm hoping it gets written down in the book of life. And I go to another better place after this. So I want to come back here and deal with Paul's bullshit.
The next dimension.
They're just being deliberately obtuse. They're using straw man fallacies against us, and I'm not engaging with them because they're looking for a response. They're looking to frame the conversation the way they wanted it. No. I don't have to do that.
Which is why I take the teeth. Every time that he bites, I take the teeth out. Like, no, that's not. No, I'm sorry. No, like, because the issue that I see, who says it best? I think Eric July says it best. He says, you will never change a person's mind logically who arrived at that position by emotion.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll never do it. Right.
If you argue with a fool, what was it? You put it from Sadhguru that.
Oh, the meme.
Never argue with a fool. I disagree with that. Yes, you're right.
Right. So, so the good thing though is everybody's at their own level in it, but for me, I think enough people watch these live streams.
Please go out and do what you feel is right. And if that means fighting the system, go ahead.
Right.
Just let me make my own choice. Don't gaslight me on my own live. Sorry.
And that's if that's their thing. I mean, who knows? That could be his purpose, and let him do that. That's great. But the point is that I don't have to, and I'm not saying that anything I'm talking about. This is just like for me, for learning, for fun. You know what I mean? To grow. It has nothing to do. I'm not trying to push nothing on nobody. So you can take it or leave it. But that's
the
important.
Will universe.
Right. It's important for somebody to charge a tank because the government says charge a tank. Somebody's got to do it. And when you do it, something's going to happen to you. It's like that whole, what was that? Storm Area 51. It's like, to me, this is hilarious. Like, oh, we're going to go free the aliens. Damn it, we're going to get the free energy devices. I'm like, do you have any idea of the level of weaponry the U.S. government had 40 years ago? You couldn't get to Area 51 if you wanted to. You could take every damn last person in America and y'all could run at the speed of the fastest Olympic runner. Y'all are on the floor. No, there you go. There you go. Did y'all see my floor? It's probably plants growing in it. All right. You're not going to start. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, okay, so, these people have laser weapons from space. Art of war. Let's back it up. Art of war. Never be where your enemy wants you to be. Never be where your enemy expects you. If you
That's
are, you
the art
will
of God.
die. If you live in a nation, and that is the number one most violent, psychopathic, warmongering, weapon trafficking nation on the planet that the planet has ever freaking seen, they saliva comes out their mouth, just violence, just violence. They thrive on it.
Yeah, they're like adrenochrome for everyone.
Like, why would you go say, you know what? I'm gonna play basketball. I'm gonna go find the best basketball player on the planet, and I'm gonna play basketball for the human race. That's what we're gonna put at stake. If your enemy thrives on violence, the last thing you should ever do is anything violent. If your enemy thrives with a sword, you do not take a sword to that battle. If they thrive with guns, don't take out a gun, right? The art of war is never be where your enemy expects you to be, never carry what they expect you to carry. The only thing that they're scared of, like we said earlier, then I'll stop my rant. They're scared of your love. That's all they're scared of. They're scared of you no longer believing in.
Yeah, and didn't the Bible say, bow your swords into grain and food? Is that not an expression from Jesus? Instead of use your swords to do agriculture or something, bow it in, transform your swords in, it's kind of a saying from the Bible. That's walking away, become sustainable. That's what Jesus said. Don't fight, do your own thing, make your own food.
Oh, you mean wipe the sand from your feet, where you're,
there is something. Yeah, and the sword. He says something. Don't take the sword. Use the sword for. I don't know how to say it in English.
Plowing.
Bend your swords to
Are you
plows.
talking about heating plowshares?
Bend your swords into plows.
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh, and another thing. Did you know that Google is the one who started Google is Andreas, and Chrome is the thing. Google Chrome. The icon, and if you make it together, bring it together, it's Andre Chrome, that thing that they drink. What is it?
Oh, it's from
Google.
Adrenochrome, right? Is that what you're
Google.
talking about?
Yeah,
it's Google, because the Google Chrome, that's the icon. Google Chrome.
Yes. Yeah.
And the one who and Andrea is the one. Andreas and Andre is the one who put up.
According to some research, the 3M Corporation has been making it and selling it for years.
Yeah.
The 3M Corporation.
and so they adrenochrome in the physical world and adrenochrome right now in the
the mental world,
energy mental world. Yep.
Right.
We're all just sitting here being brain sucked right now.
Okay.
Liquidated.
Right. Liquidated. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Deborah.
So
Okay.
our options are start wrapping it up, or we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to start wrapping it up, or we're gonna have to do a reading. I have not eaten breakfast, so I'm gonna have to eat at some point. I'm gonna have to eat at some point in time. So let's read a little bit of ancient knowledge. Maybe do a summary of it, and we'll start to wrap it up.
Okay, so we read the first two chapters here in Sun Men of the Americas. This is chapter 3, Ancient Wisdom, the religion of the American Indian. We have seen how the teaching of the Brotherhood of the Cross of Light within the Circle of Light, that's the mystery schools, was brought to America by teachers from a continent now submerged, and how centers of the Brotherhood were established there, and the people taught the divine laws of life. This teaching is known very simply as the Ancient Wisdom. The Ancient Wisdom contains all man needs to know about his Creator, about himself, and about the divine laws which govern life. And in one form or another, it has been handed down through the ages from generation to generation all over the world. In the chapter which follows, I hope to show how the beliefs and the way of life of the American Indians have their origin in this ancient wisdom, and what we, in our present civilization, can learn from the way of life adopted so long ago. White Eagle tells us, quote, "Behind all religions, through all the ages, is one truth. This is the ancient wisdom, brought to man in the beginning by the God-men, messengers of the Great Spirit and the Brotherhood." If you study this ancient wisdom, you will recognize how its influence pervades all religions. It comes to light again and yet again in many a representation. Whatever the forms or the symbols used to set forth truth, when you go back to the foundation, you will find there the seeds of ancient belief, the only ancient wisdom, the one wisdom. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. Ancient wisdom sets forth a plan of life which embraces heaven and earth. As above in the heavens, so it manifests below on the earth. It is the wisdom of the heart. It enshrines knowledge of the divine fires and creative powers with which all men are endowed, and of the divine laws which govern all life. Fundamental to the ancient wisdom is belief in a supreme being, known by many different names in different religions, but is known as the Great Spirit to the American Indians. The Indians who worshiped the Great Spirit worshipped the whole creation of the Absolute, the Almighty Being. The noble Indian gazed at the sky with thankfulness and recognized a power there. He recognized it in the stars and the planets, in the sun and the moon, for he knew that the planets and the stars had a great influence upon the earth and upon his own life. The Indian brother studied the ways of nature, studied the winds and the rain clouds and the four seasons. He recognized that behind all these natural forces, there was a directing power with which he could work in harmony and bring peace and happiness in his own life by obeying the great law as taught by his forefathers. All the aspirations of the American Indian people went out to the Great Spirit, which they recognized in all its manifestations in life, in the growing corn, in the falling rain, so vitally important to them, in the warm sunshine, in the trees and the flowers. In all the natural life of their world, they recognized the giver of life, the provider of food. The Great Spirit was everywhere for them. But White Eagle has taught me that in the ancient wisdom, this eternal spirit is both father and mother. The father, the divine energy, and the mother, the enfolding love. In ancient times, White Eagle says, we learned to worship not him, but they. The two. We worshipped the mother God, and we looked to the great motherhood of all life with adoration, respect, and love. To us, the mother promised life. She was the receptacle of the seed of life. The mother could not produce life without the father, but the Father God could produce nothing without the mother God. Therefore, we were taught by our great teachers of the Spirit to love both mother and father. We commend this thought to you all. The child of earth looks to its mother for certain qualities, certain gifts. It looks to its father for other qualities. It loves both parents and has confidence in them, knowing that they will not fail it. You also, child of the Father, Mother, God, instinctively, intuitively look to a power beyond your own. Thus, in the dawn of life, souls were taught to worship the mother as well as the father. They adored and worshiped the mother, the great mother, because the mother was the giver and preserver of life and provided for the continuation of life. The mother has an antidote for her child's suffering. The mother guides wisely the child's first tottering steps. The great mother was therefore the adored one. To our people, she was the loving, tender mother who was the soul of life and all sustenance. In those days, we recognized the Creator as a mother because we saw the human mother producing her young and saw nature herself reproducing animal and plant life everywhere. We recognized in the continual sowing and reaping of the harvest, the sequences of the seasons, the birth of our young, the assurance that our own lives would continue after death. Because of this, we became convinced of a Creator above and beyond ourselves. So we were overjoyed and filled with gratitude for the abundant blessings bestowed on us by this invisible power. We looked up to the heavens and saw a manifestation of the same invisible power in the stars and the sun. And we knew that without the sun, life could not continue because our crops would not grow or ripen. So we worshiped the mother and we worshiped the son. The son, S-O-N, born of the Father, Mother, God, who descended into earth, was pure light and pure love. That Son is in humanity, the light within our being, which is our salvation. The Christ light, the light of the Son, which is in everyone, can make all things new, just as the light and warmth of the physical sun brings forth fruit and food on the earth. The spiritual Son in the heavens is the Son of God, the firstborn, and from the Son, all life on earth comes. Our people knew that man was wholly dependent not only upon the physical manifestation of the Son, but also the divine life within it, the divine principle it symbolized. They were taught that they also had within themselves a sun which radiated from the heart. This light of the sun within the heart had to become the guiding principle in their lives. If they followed this light, it would lead them always, without fail, to truth. It would reveal the way to unfold the soul powers, which would bring them into touch with planes of life beyond death. They also linked their knowledge of the power of the sun upon their lives with the influence of heavenly bodies, for there were wise men among them who were developed mentally and spiritually. These elders studied and meditated upon the movement of the planets and the stars, the heavenly bodies in the sky. And as a result, they discovered from the same source as you yourselves are beginning to discover the influence of these planets upon man's life, an influence quite beyond the comprehension of the brain of man. They also found that there was something within themselves which was affected by the heavenly bodies. They had what you call a psychic sense or a spiritual awareness. They found that they were able to receive communications from companions who had passed away from physical life, and also teaching belonging to a much higher state. White Eagle's words find corroboration in the following from Stanley Jackson Coleman's booklet, Traditions and Legendary Lore of the American Redskins. A striking fact among the people of the Redskin is that of worshiping in all parts the Great Spirit. Almost all people of the American Indian tribes worshipped the sun, to which was offered in the chief's hut the first fruit of the fields. Prayer was made to the sun on its rising, and its blessing was sought in travel, conflict, and in hunting, and to it was offered the first smoke of the tobacco pipe. Among many of the tribes also, fire was formerly kept alight perpetually within the tribe in honor of the sun, and its extinction portended evil. This tradition of keeping the light burning in honor of the sun must surely have been handed down the ages from those far-off days when a light was always kept burning in the temples of the Brotherhood. The light symbolizes the spiritual light, the Son of God within us, within the heart of every man and woman. The great Indian mystic, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this right, Ohiyesa. The great Indian mystic Ohiyesa says, when you are in council, fail not to light in the midst the fire, which is the symbol of the Great Spirit and the sign of its presence. I quote White Eagle again. The symbol of the sun, which is the circle with the dot in the center. This symbol of the sun you can find in petroglyphs all over the Americas.
Yeah.
All over the Americas. Okay. The symbol of the sun, which is the circle with the dot in the center, has been in use throughout ages past. It has been found in remote places all over the earth, plainly indicating to the occultist the widespread practice of sun worship, which was handed down to humanity from an early continent now submerged. Even in your own Bible are references to sun worship, but they are not recognized as such. There is sun worship of the outer plane, and there is sun worship of the inner plane, hidden within the teachings of Christ. How are we to recognize and understand the true Christ sun worship, as apart from what some scholars would describe as, quote, a pagan religion? The true Christ sun worship becomes known to the initiate when he is vivified by the power of the Spirit in his own heart center. A man may accumulate great knowledge, but it will not get him very far until the sun within himself becomes ablaze. Then he knows, without need for proof, that the true and only religion for a child of God is the worship of the sun. The basis of all religions has been worship of the one who gives life, the Son, or the Son, S-O-N, whom you have learned to love and to worship in a human form as a child. As we have said, the sun in the sky, the sun which the ancients worshipped, was not so much the physical sun as the spirit which the sun represented, the golden light, the giver of life. And for them, that life took the highest form conceivable by human beings, which was his own form. So this form of man, lit by the Spirit behind, became for the ancients their God. The inner truth of sun worship applies to the Spirit within human beings, the light within our breasts, waiting to rise as gloriously and powerfully as the sun in the heavens rises on a summer's day. This is the ultimate of life, the growth of the sun within the breast of human beings, until men and women themselves become a sun man, a person of God. Astrologers represent the sun by the symbol of the dot within the circle. Freemasons also will recognize this symbol, for Freemasonry too is part of the ancient wisdom, and in common with all religions, has its origin in worship of the sun. The ancients believed such worship was divisible into three parts. First, the rise of the sun at dawn. Next, midday, when the sun was directly overhead. And lastly, evening, when the sun set. We speak from memory when we say that sun ritual took place at the rising of the sun, again at noon, and again when the sun went to rest in the west. It is interesting to compare White Eagle's words spoken in April of 1940 with another passage in Stanley Jackson Coleman's book mentioned above. Quote, the fabric of the American Indian's creed was obviously woven about his intimate observations of nature. Each day, he saw the sun rise in the east and set in the west, obliterating the stars which guarded the heavens at night. He noticed the regularity of the waxing and waning of the moon. With the seasons were correlated the regular migration of animals, birds, and fish, and the annual cycles in the growth of plants and trees. With the seasons came heat and cold, rain and sunshine, lightning, wind, and snow. Lacking knowledge of physics, astronomy, and meteorology, the American Indian gave anthropomorphic existence to the various striking features of nature. The adventures of these supernatural heroes form the intricate substance of a rich and deep mythology. Among the Iroquois, the alternation of the seasons symbolized the perpetual struggle between the life god and the one known as Stony Coat, the deity of ice and winter, whose function it was to destroy, whereas the function of what's that?
Let's lock it down there.
Okay.
I think we've gone. There were
Okay.
so many amazing points that we skipped over.
I know.
That I don't want to even go back to the religious
There's
side
like
of how the sun and
Beautiful.
Ra and Amun
Yeah.
Ra and Amen and Ra was the sun, and it reminded me of the studies that showed that the origins of language, that they can tie together the phonetics from different languages to a root language, and they did that for religion. And a lot of people still don't know that they've tied together the world's religion into a root religion that was lost. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
not going to touch that too much. That was interesting to me. And the last thing I'm going
One
to
of
say
the
on it,
things we read
and
last.
I'm going to be done with it. I just want to say this real
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Be the light.
Hmm.
We all go back and forth. We all research. We're all living life. We're all doing our thing. Be the light outside of whatever else you believe in, your religion, your philosophies, your politics. If you are not lighting up somebody else's life, why are you even interacting? Do your best to be the light in everybody else's life. And I'm done.
And I wanted to say that symbol, the circle with the dot in the middle, that's
Yeah.
not only all over the Americas, that's in the Celtic culture.
Yes.
I'm
Everywhere.
pretty sure it's even in cave paintings in France.
Mhm.
I know it's at
Everywhere.
Göbekli Tepe. It's in Egypt. It's in old Viking Norse.
Yeah.
And it's an astrology.
It goes back to the mystery schools.
Hmm.
It goes
Yeah.
back to the mystery schools, and they were all over the world. And
Yep.
they came from Lemuria or Atlantis or whatever it is you want to call that civilization or civilizations.
Yeah.
The ancient wisdom. And that gets back to a point that she made the last time in chapter 2, I think it was, that there really is only one teaching. It's the perennial philosophy. The same wisdom that transcends all the different ages. That is the same, it just has a different flavor in each epoch.
It's like he's gonna die in that car.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, isn't it 120 degrees in Texas? He's sitting there dying, like, oh my God, will these people stop?
Okay.
No, actually, it's only 108.
That's
So
108.
That's fake news.
Dang.
It's only
Oh,
it's
it's
a
only
beautiful-
108 degrees stuck in a car. Windows up.
It's only a beautiful. Actually, I'm about to go in here and get lunch. That's why I just wanted to wrap it up. Y'all know me. My mouth goes. I appreciate that, Susan. Thank you for caring about me. I appreciate that.
I'm like,
Yeah,
he's about to
um,
die.
I just wanted to wrap up on that for me and let y'all give your summaries. But yeah, be the light. We got to be the light. That's what I took from all of that. Just
Yeah.
we have to. Your presence here should be sunlight, and
Yeah.
I don't want to go any further. I don't want to trigger anybody. Just try to shine. And if you're
We're
not
all going to
shining,
die anyway. We're
Yeah,
all
true.
going to die anyway.
Yeah.
that's
Live the way you ought to be living now.
Yeah.
Because there is no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow.
Yep.
doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. And
Shine on.
you have to live, even in the Emerald Tablets, it says in order for man to live on Earth, you have to be in conflict with Earth, right? Like you have to pick a plant to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, you
You
do.
have
Yeah.
to kill an animal to eat it.
Right.
But you don't
Right.
have to do it excessively. like we do.
Yes.
You don't have to
Right.
exploit it. You just take what you need. Like that's what I would say. Take what you need and just don't be a jerk. Like don't
Right.
harm people. You know,
Right.
that's really as simple as it could be. But
Right.
we're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like
All right. Christine?
Yeah, be like a child wandering in the
Right, Lori.
world, and it's
Right.
always in tune with Tao. Child doesn't care about what all the others do. It's playing and it's joyful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it's just living in the moment, having a good time.
Amen.
Experience in the moment. Yep.
Yeah.
Count it all joy, except what is allowed. We'll leave it at that. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Jonathan, Christine, and Susan. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to go get my eat on and get back out in the desert, get the building. Y'all have a wonderful day. Love y'all to death.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Break the chains that bind me, 'cause I wanna break the chains that bind you. Do you wanna set the world free, have perfect harmony? Isn't it time for that? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people from the bottom to the top? Make modern slavery stop. Do you wanna let go of the prisoners? See everyone happy. We can have this and more if we open up the doors. Well, what do you think about that? Do you wanna free, boom, boom, free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, boom, free the people and Mother Nature too? Close down all the zoos. Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna free,